Title 42 restrictions have now been lifted along the U.S. border. The COVID-era rules no longer apply, and now a federal judge is stopping President Biden from implementing a key part of his plan to deal with a massive surge of immigrants. Fox's Doug Luzader joins us live from Washington, D.C. to bring us up to speed. Doug, what is the current situation? We knew this was happening, and now the day has arrived.
The day has arrived, and of course, overnight the rules changed. The old rules, the old COVID-era rules, ended at midnight, and now a new set of restrictions go into place. So everyone's kind of nervously watching the border to see the impact that it has on the numbers. On both sides of the border with Mexico, there is uncertainty and frustration. Immigrants camping out as the rules changed overnight, with COVID restrictions now no longer in place. We are trying to get to the U.S., says this man from Venezuela, but he complained about the Customs and Border Protection app that's used to schedule asylum claims. And more immigrants are just taking their chances now, entering the country illegally.
I want to be very clear. Our borders are not open.
The Secretary of Homeland Security repeated his claims about a closed border, but that's not how thousands of immigrants see it. The White House has pinned its hopes on a new policy to bar immigrants from entering the U.S. for 5 years if they're caught crossing illegally. But a federal judge has temporarily blocked the administration's plan to start mass releases of immigrants once shelters fill up, writing in an overnight order that the process involved little to no vetting and no monitoring.
Look, we once again just passed a bill.
House Republicans just passed a measure to crack down on asylum claims and fortify the border, but Democrats say it goes too far, and border town mayors say they are being overrun.
The border is wide open. Talked to the sheriff this morning. The border is wide open. We need it closed.
Yeah, those towns are having a tough go of it, and of course a number of cities to the north, including Chicago and New York, are dealing with waves of immigrants as well. So ultimately, what's the solution here? Some kind of deal between the White House and Congress, but it seems very unlikely. Adina.
I mean, Doug, this border security has been up for debate for what, decades now, with the solutions. Nobody seems to be able to come up with one that actually works and fits both sides, right?
Well, the solution ultimately is some combination of border security, be it a wall or something, to make sure that we're not in this situation again, and then a pathway to legalization for people that are already here. But coming up with specifics kind of around that framework has always been a challenge for Congress and for every administration.
So what happens now over these next few days? Is it a wait and see situation?
Yeah, you know, it's initially at the outset here, I think the assumption was, well, these COVID-era rules are going to end and then there's going to be a mad rush. But the calculus has changed somewhat because of these new rules that have gone into effect. So we have kind of a different set of rules in play, and we don't know ultimately the impact that's going to have on the number of people crossing the border. And the other thing has to do with this judge's ruling, telling the Biden administration that you can't just release people without some means of tracking them down. What they're doing is, and they don't like this word, but what they're doing is essentially the honor system, where they're talking about releasing people from shelters once the shelters get overrun, and saying, okay, we're going to rely on you, we're going to trust you to turn yourself in to Immigration and Customs Enforcement at a later date. But we don't know how many people would adhere to that.
Yeah, it is a difficult situation indeed. Doug Luzader, thank you.
Thanks, Tina.